Alright, this is Affinity Guard 13, which is the second part of our story about Drax remembering his past. He has gone to Vegas and gotten into a fight with Hulk. I had wanted to cover this story for a long time. It is a good story. But I always remembered Moondragon having a lot more of a role in it. She is like the emotional core to the story. She kind of bookends it. We started off with her last issue, and then we end this issue with her again. But the focus is clearly a lot more on Drax. And the problem is that now I have done 2 issues and at no point have I had an opportunity to talk about why I think Moondragon is a brilliant character, or was a brilliant character, before they bastardised her to make her into a flawless, perfect lesbian. And that was my whole point of looking at this story. What this issue is giving us is a really fun fight between Drax and Hulk. Like, a really, really, really good fight between the two. I don't know if anyone is looking for such a thing, but this is the definitive fight between these two characters. You are not going to get better than this. No one is going to come along and write a better Drax and Hulk fight than this. We cover every side of a Drax and Hulk matchup here. And the reason that the two of them are fighting is because Drax, he had a blast of memories of his past. He is very mentally handicapped at this point. He doesn't remember much, and he's got the mind of like an infant. But he did remember his origin in Vegas when he was in a car crash. And he also remembered that he used to play the saxophone. So he went to Vegas and he wound up bumping into Hulk. And Hulk, he was annoyed that Drax was in Vegas causing all this damage and scaring people, because Hulk knew that he would be the one who ends up getting the blame for going on a rampage, because they are both visually similar, big green men. And sometimes with guest appearances like this, sometimes you have the guest star being written a bit poorly to prop up the book star. But with Hulk here, Hulk is actually written great. He is in character and consistent with how he was being portrayed in his book at the time. And while we do have this big smackdown between two green, super strong monster men, which is bags of fun, we also get some nicer stuff with Hulk and him sympathising with Drax and relating to him. Hulk, classically, he was a big dumb brute like how Drax currently is, and Hulk kind of feels for him. And this leads to just a nice character moment with the two of them. Hulk, he tries to be nice to Drax and understands what he's going through. Honestly, really, really nice stuff. And while the big dumb fight, that is fun, it's this stuff that I think really raises this issue and this story. I mean, I'd happily read an issue that's just the two of them punching each other around, but instead we have some nice considered character stuff. Then when Hulk learns that all Drax really wants is a saxophone, he decides to help him steal it because it's like the least he can do. Unfortunately, he then pats Drax on the back in a friendly way, but Drax, he doesn't understand this, and he thinks this means they are back to fighting each other. So here is a big splash page of Hulk getting punched by Drax. Then we have a ridiculously good showing for Moondragon. Moondragon, she shuts Hulk down with her telepathic powers. Now I know that Hulk isn't at his most savage and strongest in this form, and Moondragon's mental powers, they are magnified by her affinity gem. But look, she like takes down Hulk with like one blast. So she and Drax, they leave, and we have some payoff to the Hulk plotline, where the news reports that Hulk went on a rampage and Drax was a hero who saved Vegas from the Hulk. And our closing scene is some Moondragon porn, with her lounging around wearing skimpy clothing and getting me especially hard in the pants. But this is all partnered with some inner monologue about how she is still living in fear that one day Drax, he is going to remember her part in his most recent death, and how she is responsible for his current mental problems. But now she is also honoured by Drax playing the saxophone, which he plays well. Like, playing the saxophone is instinct to him, so that is how he can do it. And seeing her father able to do this and channel himself in the music, well, it makes her sad and it makes her cry. And it is a sweet ending to a really enjoyable story. I didn't think you can really pick much fault with this two-parter. It is a good insight into some of the book's characters. It has a really good guest appearance from Hulk. It always seems a bit like a cop-out when I end a review by just saying, what more could you want? But really, what more could you want? I rate this very 7 thumbs up.